welcome back to my channel. So today I will hopefully be answering one of my most asked questions. So a question that loads of people ask me and have asked me for a while, and that is how I look after and organise and maintain my bookshelves. These things right here. So I actually filmed this video in action. There are bits of this video where you'll see me actually cleaning and organising, but then I realised that bits of that the microphone kept cutting out because the battery was really bad in that particular day for some reason. I don't know what it was. So I'm going to be talking and then also adding the clips in as and where are necessary. So it's going to be a bit of a mashup. I hope that's okay. The bookshelves needed to be reorganised and cleaned anyway because I hadn't done it since before I went into the hospital. It was almost a month ago, so it did definitely need to be done, and I thought, seeing as you guys asked me kind of how to kind of maintain it quite a lot, I thought I would do it. So this video is going to be going over how I organise them for one thing, but also how to look after and how to maintain bookshelves and the books on them. When you have a big book collection, to be honest, even when you have a little book collection you should look after them, but when you have a very big book collection you have lots of shelves and lots of like layers of the shelves and lots of books kind of packed onto the shelves, there are good things to know and good ways to kind of look after them and make sure that they stay in the best condition that they can. So I get asked this a lot as I do have quite a big book collection. It's a reasonable size enough to kind of have to dust and clean and make sure the books are okay, and there are things that I've picked up along the way and along this time of having this big book collection. Obviously there will be things that people do differently. Some of you guys may know really good tips that I don't put into place because I don't know it yet. So this is how I personally do it, and tips and things that I have picked up in order to look after my books, so I hope that's good. Okay, so firstly, when you clean them, take everything off. Like everything. Make them naked. My bookshelves are empty. You've never seen them empty. If you could see the floor right now. If you're going to start from the top, we're going to knock dust onto the bottom, and if you start from the bottom and then put the books back, you're going to, or even if you don't put the books back and they're still empty shelves, you're going to knock dust from the top back down. So what I would recommend, take everything off, start from the top, and then when you knock the dust down you can clean it off again, and it's not going to hit any of the books because there's no books on the shelf. Do not put books back on until it's all clean and it's all good. Then while cleaning, polish, use polish, like, and make sure it's wood polish. I accidentally did not use wood polish once. You know, it does the job, it's not very good. It can, you know, when you put non-wood polish on wood, it's not meant to be there. But wood polish, obviously you may have shelves that aren't wood. If you have shelves that are a different make or, you know, different material, make sure you get the right cleaning product for that material because you do not want to ruin it or make it go bobbly or make anything go wrong with it. Also, I always would use like this particular polish for that, especially with wood and stuff. Wipes are really, they're not the best with it. Like sometimes they're okay as long as they are like wood polish wipes, but if you use kind of just like antibacterial stuff, they can get soapy and like it can damage it, and even if it doesn't look like it damages it, it can, and it really can get in there. Also, spray the polish onto the cloth that you are using and then wipe with the cloth. Don't spray the polish directly onto the wood. I know that it is wood polish and a little bit would probably be okay, but if you do it a lot, again, it's going to just kind of like seep straight in rather than cleaning. It's going to kind of like absorb, and then it makes it go all funny and bitty and bobbly, and it's not very nice. So yeah, like I said, make sure the whole shelves are clean, not just the base of the shelves, like the whole bit, the sides and the back and everything, because that's going to help make sure that there's no dust and nothing there. Also, afterwards you can kind of run your hand through it, make sure that there's nothing on there, and if it's still dusty you can continue to clean it. I sometimes sort of wipe it over with a dry cloth afterwards as well that doesn't have the polish on it, just to kind of get rid of any residue stuff. Also, it's good to remember that if you have bookshelves that are like mine that have things on them that are not bookshelves, to also clean those. Dust collects on everything, not just the shelves and the books. It can collect on the pop Funkos that I have, it can collect on pots and other things that may sit on shelves, on fairy lights. You know, it's surprising how much dust can gather on the lights that are on these shelves, so dust those too. It dust happens, you know, everything gets dusty and things do get dusty, and I probably clean a lot more than on average, but that is because I am asthmatic and I'm quite heavily asthmatic, so if there's a big buildup of dust in my office or in my bedroom, it can really irritate my asthma. So I probably clean my bedroom about 4-5 times a week, like I'm not even joking. It's quite a hefty amount, and I make sure I clean these bookshelves at least once a month, maybe sometimes twice a month, which isn't, I would say kind of like once a month is quite good, like because it is a big deep clean. Like a deep clean is probably once a month where I take everything off and sort everything out and do it that way. Some people may say that's too little, but that's what I find works for me, and that's what I find keeps my books in good condition. Now dust, like I said, it gets everywhere. It does happen. It's not something you can necessarily prevent. You just have to make sure that you dust things and don't let it build up until it's really thick. Dust on books can murder the books, essentially, if it builds up enough. It can cause the pages to damage, it can cause the book itself. Sometimes it can even cause like little bugs to just come in and eat the pages, and it's not very nice, and obviously you don't want that because you clearly enjoy your books, so you don't want them to die. So when I come to actually organising my books, I organise my books in a rough section. It's not alphabetical, it's not any kind of precise like order, but I try to do it in sections. So this time my books, I ordered them in. The top shelves were contemporary, so you can't see the top shelf. I'm going to insert a clip of me actually doing that so that you can see. And then it went down into crime. Then we have my Mortal Instruments shelf, which is low fantasy, which means that it is a fantasy book but still set in our world, which is what the Mortal Instruments is. And then it goes into my 3 Harry Potter shelf, which is also low fantasy. And then I went into more low fantasy books, which is a good tie-in. And then I went down to high fantasy, which is fantasy books that are not set in our world. Then it went into sci-fi, and then it went into non-fiction, classics, and graphic novels. That's my order for this time. I tried to kind of move it around a bit, but also try and maintain some kind of sense of where things are and what I'm doing. So that's that. So actually arranging the shelves is important because while you think I just put the books on there, fine, having books in particular ways can actually be damaging to the books. So your best way to have a book is this way. So your best bet is in this way, like that. That's your best thing to do because that's how books are stored, and that's fine. You can lie them down and have them on top of each other, which I have had to do, as you can see. There are some books there and some books there, and you know there are books that happen in, but it's important that if you do that there are gaps between them and it's not kind of like compacted in, because if it's really tight and compacted when you pull it out it will damage the covers, it may damage the pages, and it's not very, you know, it's not very good for it. So if you do stack them like this, make sure that they are easy to take out and it's not going to put pressure on them. Same with if they're in that way, you still don't want to be putting pressure on the books, but that's not, it still shouldn't be really tight and squashed in, but it's even more so shouldn't be like that when they are laid down. Older books. Now the oldest books on my shelves are my Harry Potter books. First copy of Philosopher's Stone is 20 years old. It's a first edition, but it's not a first print, but it is a first edition book. It's like 27th print or something like that, and it's a hardback. The pages are yellowing and it is getting older. It's starting to smell like an old book, you know what I mean? And all of them are doing that. Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix are taped to their life, and like I've had to kind of rebound them with tape and other things to make sure that they are okay and to kind of save them because the spines are just coming off. But they are bound, they are like rebound with sellotape and string and stuff, and I've had to really like kind of put them and try and fix them. I don't reread them anymore. They have gone into retirement. They are on my shelf, that's it. They are not my reread books anymore. Books can get dusty, the pages can get dusty, and even if they are not books that are this old, I use a brush. I just use this brush. Even books that are not necessarily older books, I will use this on because this is useful. It means that you're not using any kind of liquid or any kind of polish on the books, which obviously you do not want to do on the actual pages, and it means that you are just gently dusting them off, and it's not any kind of like, it's very gentle and it's not kind of brushing them everywhere causing damage. So I would use that. Some people probably think I'm being really dramatic because it's not like they're 700-year-old books with important historical document. But I do like to look after them, make sure that the pages aren't being ruined and the pages aren't being dusty and it's not kind of in there. So I do use that brush for more kind of delicate books and also when the pages themselves have gotten really dusty. Another thing I want to add is obviously with the Harry Potter ones there is lots of merchandise around that. There is merchandise on the rest of the shelves as well, so that the shelves don't get too heavy. I've had that issue before, which means they go like this and then it's they break. Make sure that it's kind of evenly distributed, that there isn't too much on one shelf. I'm sorting that out now with the Harry Potter ones. I'm trying to sort of split them up a bit because they felt quite clustered, so I'm trying to sort of make them look a bit more spread out, clearly with the Harry Potter ones, but I am doing it with the other shelves as well. But it's just a good thing to make sure that the shelf isn't too cluttered. There's not going to be too much dust when things do get dusty because there's not too much on it, and there is space for things to breathe and air, and it's not just like really tightly compact and everything's all in one place. Also, I know this is sort of most people do put their books in with the spine facing you. Like, so if I looked at the shelf, the spines are facing me. That is correct, but if you do have them where it's the other way around and there is direct sunlight onto them, that can cause the pages to yellow. So I do try to avoid that. I do try to avoid the pages to get direct sunlight because it can cause pages to be damaged. I have 3 books on the shelf which are stood facing forward, and these books, you know, they are hardback books and I've made sure that they are okay to do that. It's not the best thing. It can make the pages spread, it can make the spine damage, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. I know sometimes it's difficult when you don't have space, but that is also another thing which can cause damage to books, and if you want to maintain them in a nice way, I wouldn't do it with books that you want to keep really nice and safe. I would, because you know it makes them spread and it can damage the spine. When they open up onto the shelf, if they are kind of open like this, you know, dust is going to get in the pages, so it's probably better to not have them stood up. And yeah, this is just common sense. Obviously I have fairy lights on my shelf. I get loads of questions saying where do I get them from. Mine are literally from Primark. They're like £2 a packet. I would definitely recommend battery ones. Socket ones, I personally don't like them because I don't like the idea of it being like a proper electrical, coming from an electric source in case something did go wrong with them. I wouldn't want it to cause an issue. But the battery ones, obviously do make sure they're not tangled in anything where if they get hot it could cause a problem, or make sure that the batteries are okay batteries and they're not broken or anything like that. Just make sure that it's all safe, and if you are going to put things that do have electric things and are things that could possibly get hot, they are all kind of clear and safe and clean and not in the way of causing any harm. I also get asked that there are candles on my shelves, and why am I doing that? They are protecting candles. Obviously it is very common sense to not put actual candles onto a bookshelf because just don't do that. Yes, so that is mostly how I maintain my bookshelves. I make sure the environment in the room is clean as well. When I clean the bookshelves, I clean the room. I do also clean the room more times. Like I said, I clean my office and my bedroom probably about like 4 times a week just because of dust inhalation and stuff, because I don't know why they get so dusty, and it probably doesn't get as dusty as I think, but I just like to clean because I don't, just really triggers my asthma. It's quite bad actually. It's the one thing that really just sort of make me wheezy, and it means I can't sleep if it's really bad. I hope I answered some of your questions in this. I get asked these things a lot, and I haven't really seen many videos about kind of bookshelf maintenance, but it is really important to look after them because dust can kill books and things can kill books and ways of storage can kill books, and yeah, it's good to kind of know, especially if you do have a slightly bigger collection, kind of how to make sure that they do stay in the best condition, because you don't want to spend money on something and then it damages. If you are new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week, so if you would like to stick around and join us, then you can press the little subscribe button and also the bell, because that will just help you get notifications for when I upload. And also, as usual, all my links are in the description, so it's Run on the Road on everything, and my website is renontheroad.com. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!